once more from the top. Um, yeah, I'm testing the microphone on my headphones. Maybe that's better than the microphone that's built in on my computer or the on my webcam. Maybe this is better. And also I turned off all the fans, so hopefully nothing gets picked up. And so I'm just gonna talk about my artwork on DeviantArt. And well, this is Sonia Bard, the first version of her, an early version, I guess. This when the game was more closer to standard fantasy, and I guess she was a apprentice knight or something like that. Here's another version of Sonya Bar. Another version of Sonya fighting Walcott of Sean. And Sonya Tag. This is, I guess, an earlier try using Inkscape. And she's I guess, a ancestor of Sonya Bar, Sona Tag. And Tetsuo Elo, also known as Ezio the Figure, or Ezio. He's a frail. Tanya Ali. And here's Tanya Ali and Leroy. So that this is before I changed the naming structure for the this called I will call it Tinks. Sonya Var again. She's a Dugan, by the way. And yeah. Yuri Ariel, a Mahir. Liam Fowler, a an Arya. Though then later I will change her Arya's wing arms. Eoda, a Mort. And this before I incorporated red and split their sleeves. And I just didn't color the side. Jolene Annalyn and Aetha. Mina Lee, a Mika. Bule, a Nawa. Yeah, that's supposed to be me. Another redesign of Jolie Annalyn. And Carlos Sade, a Gravy. And one thing, all the races kind of come in pairs, thematical pairs, kind of. The thematical pairs are just more or less design wise, and it's not truly reflected on the world. And basically the Nawa, the Aetha, and the Brevi are supposed to be like angels, demons, and humans, sort of. But anyway, Alaya, Discount, and Olin, a Mahir, Lenova, Allure. This is before I had made their eyes black. The white of their eyes is black now, in their current design. And Asgarel, now with their more wider arms, they're more like wings, look like wings. and Sonia's family. Well, technically these are 4 characters portrayed at different ages. And actually, let me see. Okay, so for here we have okay, wait, let me remember who they were. And okay, it's just these two that are confusing. I don't remember which one is Donna and which one is Sona. But then, okay, one of them is Donna. I think this one is Sona and this one is Donna. And well, the next one is Roll, and here's Sonia. And basically, these are all at the same age. And next we have Sonia and Sonia again. So 3 Sonias in a row, and this is all of Sonia. Then we have Sona, Roll, and Donna. And actually, the clothing they wear is pretty interesting. Actually, now that I think of it, she's wearing. Actually, I don't remember what style of clothing she's wearing, but Roll is wearing lore clothing, and she is wearing a emerging colonial clothing. Emergent styles are not tied with any particular species, and they came about from basically cultural intermixing. And Sonia here is always wearing some variation of a Carly style clothing. Then Roll is still wearing a lore style clothing, while both Sona and Donna are wearing Arya style clothing. Then we have Sona again wearing a wore down version of Arya clothing. So it's the same clothing she's wearing here, but worn down a lot. Then we have Roll and Roll and Donna wearing Corley clothing. And then we have Donna wearing emergent peasant clothing. So, yeah. Next one. Candace. Before I decided for Laurels to have yellow instead of white in their eyes. A render of Ezio de Figa, also known as Sessual Ella. And a low poly render of Liga Serens, a Nawa. Another Nawa, low poly render. Again with Justus Ella, the father of Sessual Ella. Juniette Ella, the mother of Sessual Ella. Another Dugan. One more Dugan. A Discom. A female Discom. Right now, these are all basically renders of a male and female of each species. And again, male Mahir and a female Mahir. A male Lore and a female Lore. A male Arya Actually, no, wait, this is a female Arya. Female Arya and a male Arya. A male Mort and a female Mort. A male Laurel and a female Laurel. Male Minka, female Minka. Actually, one particular thing about the Minkas is that the females levitate while the males don't. There's a bit more differences between them. But a male Murai and a female Murai. No Jin. Well, I kind of have like an order for each species, so I was expecting a Jin. Like I said, I have said previously, I think that all the species come in like quadratic pairs, and the pair for the Murai or the Jin, and yeah, this, you probably figure out the other pairs. And emo male and emo female, and actually these two are friends of Ezio de Figa, and as you can see from their names, that's where Ezio de Figa gets his name, his second name, from living with Emo and Lodemigo and Ezio de Figa. Yeah, they have story arc together. And these are all the low poly forms. It's an old model. I have newer models. And here's a bunch of emo. And here's a high poly model of Juniette Elo, the mother of Setsuo Elo, also known as Ezio de Figa. And I really like. I ended up doing a couple errors on this model, so I dropped it. But I really like how the models were turning out. Also because I decided to focus more on mobile development, so those models were really high poly. And yeah, but either way, so the tag and high poly. Female Laurel. Alina, now with the black eyes now. A lower. Arya. A Mort Lisu, now with the split sleeves and more red detail. And because one thing of the Morts is that they can only see in black and white, except for the color red. And so the color red does have some importance in their cultural life. Casey Lin, Nagwa. Shua Sen, a Minka, and yeah, she's levitating like typical Minka females. Lempa Riven. Yeah, that was a Jin and Arya. I mean, Aisa. Another Aisa. Nagwa. Dugan of Sonia Bar. And like this is basically her current design. Except without the detail on her shoes. Other than that, it's basically her current design. And details on her gloves. Rog Ironside. Same thing, his current design. Minus a few details. Yuri Tyne, And La Amigo again, emo. Oh, one thing is that like all the different species have different number of fingers, and for the emo, I decided to give them like a single mitten hand, single two finger basically, a 2-fingered hand, and and yeah, like I said, the species come in 2 thematic pairs, and here we have. I guess the following set is kind of representative of those thematic pairs. Um, and a Dugan and a Frill, and also they're gonna be of opposing of different genders, of the 2 different genders each one. There's another. I just played this between the story arc of Ezio and Enla, and yeah, you can probably tell the naming convention that Emo have with Ezio and other characters like Enpu and so on and so forth. And one thing that this scene that I was trying to capture is simply like that she sees her difference, their difference between each other. But one thing on the Tarzan, the one on the Disney film Tarzan, when Tarzan reaches out to Jane and compare hands and see that they're the same. Basically a similar thing that she sees that they're different, but he doesn't treat it. He doesn't see the difference. And another test with high poly models. It was trying out the render settings. And again, trying out render settings. Again, wrong button. And again, render settings. And now with different heighted people. And this is Adlor City. And one thing that is clearly not visible because of the lack of color is that these things are supposed to be lava. It's basically inside the crater of a volcano, and so these are 2 flowing rivers of lava. And yeah, that's the palace, the big thing there, and different little houses. Unwilling allies, a Hid and a Discom. During the time of Crystal Destiny, and actually it's gonna be also shown on Chronicle Destiny, is that there's this, I'm gonna say war, maybe a disagreement, but definitely there's fighting between Discoms and Mahirs. A Minka, and before this point, all the Minkas were designed to be cat-like, and like maybe I can expand the kind of restrictions kind of. So this is more skunk design, and a squirrel design, a raccoon design, and they do feel Minka, so I'm gonna keep those different designs. And a wolf, I guess. And Lindis again, this time with the yellow on her eyes. So it's the modern design now. And oh yeah, one thing. Similar how like the emo have a single one hand, 2-finger hand. The Laurel has 3-finger hands. Morts have regular 5 fingers. And Angie, a Mort, and they're wearing a student area clothing for students. Paliet Odin, a Jin with area clothing. Samurai with area clothing. And yeah, these are all on the same story. We're gonna be told on the same story. A Murai. One thing is that this bluish clothing is for females, and the one they incorporate this darker brown color is the male version of the same uniform, school uniform. And yeah, Murai with Arya school uniform. Another Murai. Another Murai. One more Murai. And a Murai wearing Murai clothing. And it's a lore styled clothing. A Jin with Arya clothing. Was an emo with Arya clothing. What's it called? And Arya with Arya clothing. a lore farmer, and yeah, he's wearing lore clothing. Another lore, a lore kid, a child farmer. He's wearing the emergent peasant style clothing. Another area with an area nurse clothing. Murai with Murai lore. And this is a more fancy version of the lore clothing. Because of the plates she has. And here's all of them in one shot. And here we have a Rolf, a female Rolf. And more detail, more exploration on a female Rolf wearing fancy clothing. And a male Rolf. Try more realistic style Dugan. A lore soldier. An Arya bureaucrat. And new rivals. Yeah, here again the thematic pairs. And here we have all of them. And across each other is also the thematic pairs of a different gender. Eoda is a prince, by the way. And Leon Thor. Not Leon, Lily Thor. I made an animation between these two, and like she kisses him, but as a Mort, he displays no emotion, and she got upset and pushes him. It was for art school that it was the 3-panel gag thing. And actually, yeah, that theme between the two is life and death. Yeah, she mostly represents like life, flowers, vegetation, and all kind of stuff, and he's death. and that's just a design point of view. It's not really, it's not necessarily within the game world, but there are some elements to that. Couches, a Zell, and Jade Lee, a Minka. Proper equipment. I guess the theme between those two, between the Zell, it's not just the characters between the entire species. Of Zell's is strength, and of Minka's is wisdom. Nile, a Murai, and Lampa, a Jin. And dueling puppets. And the thing between them two is dark and light, essentially. And yeah, that was my cat. And that's the group pose. And La Amigo, and Imo, Rose Vita, and Curly. Unusual harmony. And actually now the design, the females are way taller. And because actually Emo are short people. They're kind of like dwarves, I guess. Sona and Danny. Sona and her children. And yes, the children are fathered by Danny. He is no longer here anymore. And here we have Sona Tag in different ages. Okay, so the one that had the emerging colonial outfit, and the last drawing was Sona. And then she has an Arya clothing, then the same Arya clothing but worn down, and then emergent peasant clothing. And again, Sona and Danny tried to recreate that previous drawing. And Danny Kerr with emergent peasant clothing, and then Lore peasant clothing. T983, also known as Tina. She's a Mink. And yeah, their names are serial numbers, and depending on which tree they're born, they have the pattern is different. And for her is T983. And because of the Tina comes from kind of like angelization of her name. Basically similar concept that like in the movie in American Tail, Ivo is not an American name, so his name was changed to Philly. So it's a similar concept. And Tina comes from the T9 on her name. T9 translates to Tina. Rufu, a wolf. And voiceless Outcast. One thing about them too is that they don't actually are able to speak, or at least not in the same way that everybody else does. So I mean, they can't even learn it. Then you could say that their vocal structure is different, so they can't make all the sounds needed for regular language, human language. So yeah. A random Laurel, in which I did not make her eyes yellow. A random, actually no, it's not random, it's Lena. Yeah. a discount. Yeah. A Laurel wearing gym clothing. And yeah, one thing that Laurels do is that um, they surf on leaves. Sophie, a hybrid of Dugan mother and Mort father. And here we have hybrids. Let's see. Too big. Oops, wrong button. I think that's a better good size. Basically, like for hybrids, who the mother and who the father is important. Because the mother's body plan that it's followed. So these are all hybrids if the mother was Dugan. And each one is fathered by a different species. And they're all dressed in typical clothing for those species. So over here we have for a frilled father. And one thing I did try to like keep some element, maybe like the hair texture for from the father or some clothing, and but still keeping with whatever it'll be appropriate with Dugan, the Dugan body plan. Like one thing, Dugans have 4 fingers, so even if the father has different numbered fingers, they all have 4 fingers. That's what I mean by like the body plan. And actually, I probably don't think that somebody with Sever should have horns, since that's not in the body plan for Dugan. And yeah, basically, that was a nice exercise. Okay, next. And here's a work in progress of the Benton, which I guess so far hasn't been featured because they're really complicated, especially their arms. And here we got him colored Dwayne. And here's a K-pop, and I think I'm gonna change the name for that. And here we have cooperative knowledge. One thing about the K-pops is that they can stand in 4 feet or on 2 feet. Like over here, they're standing on all 4s. Anyway, I have a group shot of all of them. Jolie Annalyn and Aetha, Carlos El Drabi, and Rebule Anagua. And like I said, they're the only one that's 3 instead of 2. And actually, one thing about the thematic pairs, another thing is that each species is created by is represented by 2 elements, except for the first 6, which is only represented by 1. And this 3, they're still represented by 2 elements, but those 2 elements have a special relationship between each other. and that's why they're different. They come in three, and here's all of them, all of the species that populate the world of Tria. I don't know. I haven't decided the name. Right now it's just called Tria. And here another fail about the opposing of the other gender, Fianian, and she's wearing a Arya clothing. Bolt Sean. Yeah, he wasn't like on one of the very early drawings. And he's wearing some sort of Arya clothing, modified Arya clothing. Lost heritage. And probably since they're both wearing Arya clothing and not anything close to Dugan. Lena Kromhost. She's a Duscam exile. In Valerly time, Imahir, earn affection. It has to do with their story arcs. And Gina Anise. And the thing about her chains is that chains are actually represent marriage. So instead of the engagement ring, the females get chains instead. The lords are heavily male dominant, with the females being heavily property, kind of. And an Arya male, Arya Sarem, mutual standing, again has to deal with their story arc. Ieyasu, Mort, and Sunday Thorn, and he's the older brother of Lily Thorn. And equal pace. Trina chess. I guess this is the opposite of what the lords do. The Zeror are actually heavily female dominated. Well, I guess these are for characters for Chronicle Destiny. Marie, Yo, and Dom. Makora, a Murai, a Minka, a male Minka. Strong proposal. And yeah, well, the Zeror are really big. The Zeror male are really big. Zeror female are short. Yet they're still dominant. Asami, Sari, Letheli. I get it from the previous video in which I showed the ones that I have on Facebook. I showed her without her middle name. So this is her middle name is Sari, and I guess I changed her name from Lith to Letheli. And Olapa Riven again. Master and apprentice. And Lodemigo. He's the brother of Es Lodemigo. And here you have the group shot of those other ones. And the group shot of the first six these ones. Magnelli Lascent. A Corley male. Bound oppression. D935 Dimitri, and his name comes from D93 Dimitri. And Fifi. Privilege ignorance. And here we have another cast for Chronicle Destiny. Chronicle Destiny is right now structured to have 4 stories, each one completely different, just bound by the same mechanics and game lines. And Chronicle Destiny is the first part of it. Blights Chronicle is a story, so it's telling 4 stories, 4 chronicles. They're meant to be short stories. And here's a render of one of those characters. It's this first one, Tuko, a Jin. And here we have his sister Shirama, a Jin. A sculpt of a K-pop. A low poly render of the other ones use the high poly model. This is using the low poly model of Yoguru. And here's the story of Yol, so you can read it really quick. And that's it. And here's the second story for Chronicle Destiny for Reload. And yeah, that's it. And here we have Sienna. She's in Arya dress, trying to pass as a Mirai. Her start, gameplay wise, she's stealth. She's trying to, she's an Arya trying to infiltrate a Morai fortress, and she's dressed as a Morai peasant. Spoilers. And Jari, what do you call it? A Mahir sergeant. Basically, it's the same thing. Sophie and her parents. Like I said before, her mother is Dugan and her father is a Mort. Murai Battle Lady. I just wanted to draw the armor. And later on I got the idea how to do the helmets. Joda, a kid. It's for the comic. It's for a comic story. Same thing for the same comic. Karin. And the cast of Crossroads Destiny, which is gonna be a comic. Chronicle Destiny is gonna be a short game, and hopefully all that leads up to Crystal Destiny. But yeah, like I said, the Zeros are big. The Zero males are big, while the Zero females are short, but the Zero females are dominant. Here we have another wolf. His name is Roro. And here we have Jorah's siblings. And Jorah is the second one from the left. And from the clothing they're wearing, like maybe I shouldn't talk too much about it, but okay. But about just the clothing, from the left to right, they're wearing Lore, Corley, Emergent Peasant, Murai, Emergent Peasant, Lore. Actually, wait. You guys see it's Lower Peasant, Corley, Labor, Emergent Peasant, Murai, Lord, Emergent Peasant, and Lower Guard, Lower Military. And here we have a group shot of the cast of Crossroads Destiny. And actually, one thing in this one, yes, the males are so oppressed by the female that the males are the ones pulling the wagon and not some sort of beast of burden. And here's, like I said, the Chronicle of Destiny has 4 stories, each one with their own cast. And these are the main characters of 3 of those stories. There's Marie, Joel, and Dom on the left. This is gonna be Sienna's story. And another story. What was his name? I forgot. Rilo's story, yeah. Yeah, the main character is the one straight in the middle, right in front of everybody. And here we have Sona's story. Sona's and Donnie's. They're part of a traveling thieves group. And what we call Medi's story. In Medi, Calo. Oh, Claire, sorry. I was thinking Luz. Oh, and Claire. And grandfather and this guy. And here's the 4th cast of Chronicle Destiny. And the main Jari is this character in front. Just for a moment. Okay, now with Lindis, Dark and Stormy Night is the story of Sonia Var. Sonia Var being the little girl back here. Dana and Roll and Nile. And over here we have Bright and Clear Day. What's it called? The Dark and Stormy Night comes from Peanuts. That's how Squeaky starts his stories. And the opposite of that will be A Bright and Clear Day. And that's how Ezio's story goes. Like I said, under Group Shot was titled Opposing Equals, so the opposite of Dark and Stormy Night, and that scene does take in a Dark and Stormy Night. So this scene takes the Bright and Clear Day with Ezio and Fia and Lempa and Carlos. And here's testing a new model. Being, like I said, I'm aiming for mobile, so the lower the poly the better. And I kind of do want to keep all of the fingers, so. And here's a UV test. And the male and female base. Testing the model with Yol. A random Dugan family. And one thing is that you can't really see the 2 of the kids. The father is wearing lower peasant, and the female is wearing a Laurel style clothing. And basis for the tot. One thing more and technical side, kind of, in order to create a vast amount of characters. This is more aiming towards Crystal Destiny and not necessarily Chronicle Destiny, but in order to basically build the character have to think, play them in age groups, so that way I can choose the base and build the character from that base, kind of. So not only there's a male and female base, and there's also different bases for different ages. And so here, there's the top base for any character that's less than 1 year old, and the kid base, alongside with the tot base. And alongside with the regular standard adult bases. And for example, in this one, in the core Dylan family, in order to build this one, I will need a kid base, a teen base, and an adult base for all of them. Uh, the Disney family, which is the governor's family for the town where Yo's story takes place, and more characters to fill that town, and even more. Furthermore, and a couple more. Some more characters. And even more. And even more. 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 And here's them all. Yeah, one thing is that kind of want to make. One thing that I found in a couple RPGs is that the town seem empty. There's no way that town could exist. It cannot function. And so, the town that took the, well, I understand why, because yeah, it kind of take a while to create all these characters, for that none of them have any part to do with the story. But that's why Chronicle Destiny is a very small scale game. Let's see. But yeah, so I'm thinking on that town, I thought it's gonna be a small town, and like, what is the bare minimum stuff that should be? Or it's gonna have the governor, the governor's aide, and also we have to think of their families, because it's not just gonna be just the governor there, but the governor's husband and their kids, the governor's aide and his wife, his kid, the nurse and their family, and yeah, the supply keep is alone. Yeah, I mainly to like save time, but also to add variety. And here we have a cook, which is a samurai, and some lore. The janitor, his wife, and newborn baby. Yeah, that's why I put the ages, so that I know which base to use later on. School teachers and their families, the barkeeps and the barmaids. What is this one? The doctor and her family. Storekeep and their families, the storekeeps. And actually, even if they like don't have anything to do with the story that's being told on Chronicle Destiny, they do have stories of themselves. And one thing on the storekeeps, it's a male lord and a female Corley that run the store, and they each have their own kids that basically have grown together. And their story mostly focused on their first childs that basically are just 1 year apart. And then we have housekeeps, stable hands, stable workers, right? And you can see the lower males are tall. Stable workers And also, of course, the females are tall. Well, the Corley males are not that short, but they're still short. Woodsmiths, yeah, he's a female, and she's still short. So just to give variety. It's not like all guys are tall and all. Basically, to give a variety, but predominantly male lords are tall and female Corleys are tall. Supply keep the supply workers, and yeah, that's all the population of the town. And that first story not only takes place in the town but also in the farm. So there's also a cast on the population for the town. And what did I just press? Wait, what did? Okay. And a vendor of of Siena. Again, the vendors of Tuco and Sirama. And a textured version of them. And a test to see how a sprite will look. And again, we're using the new model, the new low poly model. I'm gonna rebuild all of the bases for each of the races, each of the species. So here's a rebuild for the first set, the first 6, and then the next 6. And here's the frills. A frill drudge and a frill lord clothing, and the Dugans have an emergent peasant, and they're both emergent peasants clothing. And here's all the races so far that I've worked. Here's the Discom with the Discom Exile and the Discom Militant. And the Mahir, they're both peasants. A lord with on the left a peasant and a lord on the right. Clerks, they're both regular. Clerks again. I mean, more like a common, clothing. So, some of the cultures are more stratified than others. So some of them do have like a larger variety of clothing to differentiate between the classes, and others have fewer. So like the Lara are another one that has few clothing differentiations between classes. And here's trying to make the Tibetan base using the new low poly base. The Zower. Yamaminka. And this is when I got the new Surface Pro 4 pen, just the pen, not the actual computer, just the pen, and I'm just trying that out, and this is what I drew. And I decided to color that drawing with this one with lenses and Sweelands, Belliet and Aesthetic, and Anne and Alitrivi. And here's all of them in color. And this is a work in progress for the Valentine theme drawing. and the computer crashed, so I just saved a snapshot so I can rebuild what I had lost. And more work in progress. Here's all the color. And actually I wanted to add the rest of the family here, but I decided not to, because the composition wise it was designed for just this two and not for to add the other two. They wouldn't have worked. And here is the final version of Karin and Lou. And another drawing, work in progress, with some color. And yeah, that's it. And it was just a test, and hopefully there was nothing bad on this recording at all. And yeah.